Hey, what's up? John Sonmez from simpleprogrammer.com. So today I wanted to talk about a subject that I've encountered quite a few times. I think a lot of people struggle with, which is this idea of work and doing the work. And you can see a lot of the different ways that we avoid doing work that you might exhibit it in your life, right? So you might be a procrastinator. You might just be one of those people who just makes everything so painful to do, and you drag things out or you resist them as much as possible. But what I want to talk about today is this idea, this concept that maybe will help you to reframe things and to think about work a little bit differently. Because the reality of the situation is this: no matter what, you're going to do the work, right? It's going to happen. You're going to be forced to do the work. Now, you can delay that as much as possible in your life, and maybe you'll never get to it, and that work will be undone, but you'll be undone. You'll be incomplete. You will not actually achieve the results that you want in life or get anywhere until you're willing to do the work, until you do the work. And in many cases, the work is going to be done, right? You know, you could take, for example, schoolwork, for instance, right? Or, you know, if you can remember back to your childhood, or maybe you have a child and you've seen them fight, or you've fought yourself and you've resisted what you know you need to do, cleaning up your room, right? I mean, doing your homework, doing these things that you know you're going to eventually do, writing a paper. As adults, we do this, right? We procrastinate, we delay things, but you're fighting, you're kicking against this thing that you feel that you have to do, and you're making it as difficult as possible. Why? Why do you do that? What you should realize in that case is that you're going to do it. It's going to happen, right? So you can make a choice. You can make a choice, and you can choose to give up your freedom and to be a slave, right? And the way that you do that is that you do not voluntarily do the work. You let someone else tell you and force you and drag you kicking and screaming until you finally get it done. Or you procrastinate up to the point where the deadline approaches and you absolutely have to get it done, and you don't have free will at that choice. You don't have free will at that point. You don't have a choice, essentially. You're letting someone else, you're letting circumstances, you're letting external events control you. The other alternative is that you can recognize that the work will be done. You will do this. It will be done. So you might as well make it as painless as possible. You might as well commit to it. You might as well, of your own free will, decide that you're going to do the work, right? And give into it, to not necessarily give into it, but to choose it, right? To choose to take that path and to go ahead and go forward, and then you have the freedom, right? It's the difference between saying I must and saying I get the opportunity to, or I have to, versus saying I get to, right? You get to. When you choose that mindset, when you choose the I must or I have to mindset, what you're doing is you're saying, okay, external world, other people, you get to control my life. I'm a slave. I have to do these things. I'm compelled to do these things. It's out of my control, okay? But when you change it around and you say, I get to, and I've talked about this before, but I want to emphasize this point, but when you change it and you say, I get to do these things, and you know that you have some work, you know that you have some obstacle, something that you have to tackle, something that you don't necessarily want to do, but you choose to go forward and to dive into it, right? I mean, it's so funny how we do this, how we try to avoid things that we know are coming. We know we're going to do that thing, and we delay it and we procrastinate or we fight against it, right? There's so many things. I mean, I'm not excluding myself from it. I still do this today, where I know I need to do this thing, but I put it off for some reason, or I let it stress me out and I let it hang over me instead of just going and getting it done. Just go knock it out. Just go head first into it, right? If you want a good book on this, by the way, it's called The Obstacle is the Way by Ryan Holiday. I actually got a signed copy of this book. I specifically ordered this nice signed copy because I love this book so much, and I got a physical copy so I could have it on my shelf over here where I'm putting kind of my best books. But it's about that. It's about confronting, right? Instead of avoiding, instead of trying to get around having to do the work, just go and hit it. Just go and hit it head on and realize that it's going to be done. So you might as well do it. You might as well do it with a good attitude. You might as well give it all of your effort. You know, I've talked about doing a 9 or above. Always give something a 9 or above, and that it's just going to be a better outcome in general, right? And you're going to get more benefit from it if you're going to have to do it anyway. Plus, it switches you from the slave mentality where the world is in control of your life, circumstances control, and you're buffeted by the waves, to the take charge mentality where you are the master of your life. You are the one steering your ship. You know, so smart people, what they do, wise people, I would say, is they know that something's coming. They know that some work, something that they don't want to do is coming. And instead of doing what the unwise people do, which is to fight it, to kick and scream against what they know is inevitable, right? What they do is they embrace it. They say, I may not like this pill, but I'm on board. I'm on the ship. I know that this is coming, right? I can see that wave in the future. And so instead of trying to, turn my ship sideways and let the wave smack me and roll me over, I'm going in. I'm going into the wave. I am confronting the obstacle. I'm going direct into it. And I'm going to give it my best shot, because when I am putting my resources and my full energy into attacking the problem that I know is coming, the work that I know I must do, then I have a better chance of overcoming it, of succeeding and getting a benefit out of it. But when I am dragged into it, kicking and screaming, and I'm forced to do it, not only do I feel like I've given up my control, but I'm gonna barely get by. I'm not gonna get a real benefit from that thing, and I'm gonna keep getting dragged through the flame over and over again. So if you're living your life and you're feeling like you're always forced to do things, and you're always feeling like it's a drag, and people are making you do things, and you just don't have control over your life, and you're always just fighting and resisting things, maybe it's time to go with the flow. Maybe it's time to look ahead and see the things that are inevitable, the things that you know that you must do, the work that must be done. And instead of fighting it, instead of avoiding it, just hit it head on, just blast through it and embrace it, accept it. And you're going to have a lot more success. You're going to have a lot less headache in life. You're going to have a lot less conflict and resistance, and you're going to feel better about it. You feel good about it too. And I'll tell you one other piece here before I wrap this up, which is that when someone compels you to do something, when they make you do something against your will, right? And you have to recognize the laws of power here, because there are situations you think that you can just do whatever you want. It's not true. You have to be differential to a certain power. I've talked about this before, but when someone forces you essentially to do something, some work that needs to be done, right? Whether it be your boss, or it's your homework, or deadlines, or external circumstances, and that gets done, it doesn't feel so great, right? It's a relief. I finished. It's great. It feels better than having it hanging over you and someone pounding your head, because now they've stopped pounding your head. But it doesn't feel great. But I'll tell you, when you face it, when you see the conflict, when you see the hard work, when you see the thing that you need to do, right? And instead of fighting that person or fighting that thing, instead you embrace it and you take it on and you make the choice. You're giving yourself the ability to make that choice. When you make that choice and now you conquer that thing and now you complete that thing and now you're successful, you get the credit. It's on you, because you voluntarily, you willfully chose that path. Yes, it was an illusion. Yes, you were going to have to go down that path anyway, but there's a huge difference. You can march down that path. You can have a chain around your neck, okay? And you can be dragged by it. Or you can recognize that there's something that you're going to have to defer to, someone you're going to have to defer to, some power. And you can have the chain around your neck still, but you can hold your head up high and you can march forward. So, in those situations, you got to choose. Are you going to be dragged, or are you going to march forward with dignity? And in one case, you're going to lose power and you're going to feel like shit. In the second case, you're going to gain power and you're going to gain some autonomy, and there's no difference. When you decide to go the direction, right, it doesn't matter. There's no difference between having the chain on your neck or not, because if you live your life that way and you constantly go in the direction that you have to go, but you willfully do it, it's suddenly you've given yourself the choice. I may not be in control control, but I can willingly choose to live my life to do what I know that I'm compelled to do anyway. I might as well accept it and choose it and make the choice mine, and then I gain power over my life. So if you want to gain power over your life, this is the key. This is the secret, because there's always going to be shit that you don't want to do. There's always going to be people telling you what to do. There's always going to be things that are going to be hard work to you that you're not going to feel like you want to do. But when you make that choice, when you say, look, I can see the future, I can see what's inevitable, so I'm going to steer into the wave instead of steering sideways and being capsized, that's when your life changes, and that's when you gain the change in perspective that allows you to be successful and feel like you're in control of your life. So you have to make that choice. I hope this video was useful to you. If it was, if you want to get more videos like this one, click that subscribe button below and you will get on my subscription list. If you really want to be a super subscriber, click the little bell and you'll get notified every time I release a video, which is 2 to 3 times a day, just to warn you. I will talk to you next time. Take care and take control of your life by steering into the waves.